Larry, one of the things that she said during this visit to Europe, he was mentioning the conflict in Gaza, and he said that China's policy, official policy, is two-state solution.
Mhm.
And at the same time, we are hearing that the UN General Assembly has recommended that the Security Council considers Palestine's membership. And how do you see the situation right now, considering this new attitude of UN General Assembly again recommending Palestine be a sovereign state? Do
Yeah,
you think are we gonna have some changes?
yeah, probably not. But the changes are coming in the Middle East. So you've now, a month or so ago, when we were talking, Erdogan in Turkey was just shooting his mouth off and not doing anything. Well, now he's changed his tune, and they're imposing, cutting off trade with Israel. So that's significant. Israel's the port in Eilat down in the south, that's closed basically. It's not active. Nothing of any substance is coming in and out. The Red Sea remains closed to Israel. All of those reservists who were called up to man the Israeli army left jobs, and those jobs are suffering from lack of having their workers there. And then you've got Saudi Arabia just the other day that really came out pretty strongly. And the reason you're seeing people like the Saudis, and I think you're going to see the Jordanians do the same thing, is because the people are demanding it. They're outraged. The man in the street in each of these countries. They're seeing the images, the slaughter of the Palestinians. So a lot of it hinges on how far Israel goes with this invasion of Rafah. If they decide to go in with guns blazing and, kill another 30, 40,000 Palestinians, it's not going to buy them peace. This, it's going to inflame the region in a way that really could get out of control. I don't know if most people appreciate the fact that in the entire history of Israel, Israel's never killed this many Palestinians in a military operation. Never. This is like 12, 13, 14 times what died in the battles in Lebanon back in 82, the massacres at Sabra and Shatila camps. This is magnitudes greater. And never in the history of Israel has Israel carried out this level of physical destruction on the homes of Palestinian people. It genuinely is a genocidal effort, in my view. So this is going to be, this is not going to eliminate people who have sworn a vow to avenge the deaths of the Palestinians. And, when you look at Hamas, even, the language that the West uses about Hamas is so wrong. They describe Hamas as an international terrorist organization. It's not. It is a religious, a Muslim-based national liberation movement. I put it, they're really, in some aspects, they're no different than the Sioux Indian War fighting against American settlers trying to take over Indian land during the American Indian Wars back in the late 1800s. The same thing. Because when you look, I finally, because I kept hearing Hamas, this terrorist this and terrorist that. Okay, let's really sit down and take a look at their terrorist attacks. Well, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Israel, it's not my numbers, it's their numbers. They put every single attack since the year 2000 out of 673 attacks. I think that's the total number, 672, somewhere in there. Of those, fewer than 100 are directly attributed to Hamas over a 24-year period. And how many people did Hamas kill in that 24-year, or did all of the terrorist groups, Palestinian Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, unknown Palestinians. That number is 1,455. Again, not my numbers, Israel's numbers. So you put that into perspective. During that same 24-year period, the Israelis prior to October of October 7th of 2023, the Israelis had killed almost 8,000 Palestinians. So it's almost 4 times the number, more than 4 times the number of Palestinians were killed. Or let's put it this way, for every single Israeli killed in a quote Hamas or Palestinian attack, there are 4 Palestinians who died at the hands of Israelis. So that's, that puts it in perspective. And it is, I think it's necessary to accurately describe this. And when you go through and you read the incidents, what they record, they find some Israeli shot up in a valley. Don't know who shot him. Yeah, maybe it was the Arabs, maybe not. Could have been a jealous husband. Who knows? But it was the violence that was carried out by Hamas was largely sporadic, and in many cases was a reaction to what the Israelis were doing. Many times they were targeting guys wearing uniforms and police outfits, carrying guns. Well, sorry, that's not terrorism. That's war. Maybe an insurgency, but to use the claim of terrorism as a epithet to discredit, it just doesn't match up. Hamas is nothing like ISIS and Al Qaeda. I was going to say Hezbollah, but even Hezbollah has more in common with Hamas than Hezbollah has in common with ISIS or Al Qaeda.
The Biden administration is saying that they're not sending any more weapons to Israel. How do you see these new policies on their part?
Well, it remains to be seen if it's true. Number one, is it the fact that the U.S. ran out of weapons, as we talked about earlier? The cupboard is bare. They don't have anything to send. So what's the best way to put the word out that you can't send anymore? I'll just tell them, hey, because you're not following what we're telling you, we're not sending you anymore. Well, we didn't have any more to send anyway, so maybe that we get two bangs for the buck. But alternatively, it may be that the Biden administration finally recognized they're facing such political damage within the Democratic ranks that if they don't do this, they're going to suffer at the polls, because it's the Republicans who are full gung ho. Let's give Israelis everything. Let them kill every Palestinian in the world if they can. I find the Republican policy on this is reprehensible. So we'll see.
We've learned that David Cameron from the United Kingdom said that it doesn't matter for them if Israel decides to attack Rafah. They're going to supply weapons to Israel.
Yeah,
this is so radical. And
they're a bunch of dark-skinned people, dude. It's okay to kill dark-skinned people. Haven't you figured that out? That's been the British gig for 300 years, and all their colonial conquests, and the start of slavery. Helping make slavery into a business, a profitable business. What are a few dead Palestinians? They're not human beings. Stop pretending like they're actual human beings and children of God. Oh my God. How could you be so delusional? Yeah, I mean, Cameron is loathsome. He really is. He's a despicable human being. And, all you can hope is that there is a God and somehow there's payment back for this kind of sin on his part, because that's what it is. It's a sin against humanity and his enabling of the Israelis to murder the Palestinians.
this policy in Gaza, how is it going to affect the United States hegemony in the Middle East? You see this policy in Gaza, you see the rise of China. How do you see the changes in the Middle East?
Well, there's some dispute about China. Let me point that out with respect to their economic situation right now. There's some China's experts that insist that the Chinese are in real trouble. You know, that Tesla's going to pull out, Apple's going to pull out, that they had a real estate crisis. So I think China's, in my own view, is going to be okay. But the original question about U.S. Leadership as the hegemon of the region, that's already unraveling and has been for really since the start of the special military operation and the imposition of sanctions on Russia. They have backfired and backfired badly. You are seeing, one element of weakness on display, Operation Prosperity Guardian. The U.S. aircraft carrier on the task force, I guess it was the Eisenhower. I think it's been replaced now. They've been unable to stop the Houthis. The Houthis have kept the Red Sea blocked. Wait. I thought that the U.S. was the most powerful naval force in the world, and that we could do anything, and nobody could stand against us. And here are these little guys, running around a dusty desert country with, lots of poverty and lots of rocks and wearing sandals and God knows what. And they've forced the United States to a halt. U.S. can't do anything to open that Red Sea and provide safe passage to ships. So the rest of the world is looking around going, it's like, here, I've hired my bodyguard and he can protect you against anything. He is the toughest man in the world. And the next thing you know, you see some little guy like Joe Pesci come up and punch him in the crotch and double him over. Well, you say, hey, geez, I guess he's not so impregnable and unbeatable as we thought. So right away, that there comes the doubt. The U.S. was firmly involved with helping spin up the war between Yemen and Saudi Arabia because they saw it as a way to get at Iran. And then lo and behold, in comes China and Russia, and they get Iran and Saudi Arabia back together again. And so they're singing Kumbaya. And I said, well, wait a second. And then Sudan agrees with the Russians to build a port. And I said, wait a minute, you can't do that. And then, all the U.S. embassy and everybody have to bail out because of the war in southern Sudan. All across the region, U.S., not just in the Middle East, in the Sahel in Africa. Nigerians told us, hey, get the hell out. We don't want you here anymore. Go. Get out. Oh, by the way, Russia, come on in. We got these nice barracks that the Americans built for you. Isn't this great? Help self. Yeah, the United States is losing. And, as we talked a little bit earlier with respect to China, how could they not lose with the talking to other countries the way they are? I mean, our only option is, if you don't do what Nima, if you don't do what I tell you, I'm going to impose sanctions on you or I'm going to attack you. Now, please be my friend. Who wants to be friends with a crazy person like that? That's the United States. There's nothing nice about us anymore. We're like a disease. And man, we need to find a cure for it because our sickness is provoking war, chaos. Look at what we're doing in the country of Georgia, trying to stir up a color revolution there in order to overthrow the legislature because the legislature is not doing what we want. Because we want to have a country where we can go buy whichever group or politician we want and own their ass and make them do what we want. And by God, you're not going to pass a law that's going to prevent us from doing that. because this is our world. We control it. I mean, that's our attitude. And the Russians, the Chinese, and the rest of the world starting to wake up, going, whoa, wait a second. This country's out of control. And it's like, take the car keys from him. Don't let him get in the car and drive. He's driving under the influence.
Larry, don't you think that this decision of Palestine being a state, a sovereign state, it would be much democratic if we give this mission to the UN General Assembly, because we have a lot of countries, we have
Right.
this plurality of opinions.
Because most of them don't have the money. It's the golden rule. Those with the gold get to make the rules. Excuse me. This I really don't see how they work out the situation in Israel between the Israelis and the Palestinians. We don't want to go back to the status quo of where Israel basically has the Palestinians in Gaza enclosed in what's the largest outdoor concentration camp in the world, where they cannot enter and leave at will. Or at least, okay, you can understand them being controlled entry into Israel. Where's your passport? Do you have a visa? That kind of thing. But they certainly should have their own airport that where planes could fly in and out, and their own seaport where ships could come in and out. But they can't do that right now. Israel doesn't allow that. And it doesn't deal with the situation on the West Bank, where you've had all these Israeli settlers coming in and encroaching and taking over Palestinian land like ravenous locusts. So, it's got to be sorted out. But we're seeing more and more countries starting to recognize Palestine as a state that's going to have to be dealt with. And Israel is acting a lot like the United States in its belligerency and its bellicosity and its viciousness. And it's not winning friends around the world. It's losing friends. And, these idiotic extremists like Ben Gvir and Smotrich. No, we don't need those people. We can get along without them. Yeah, good luck with that. You find out the Beatles, I guess it was Ringo Starr. He was right. You get by with a little help from your friends. That's what they need. They need some friends, not more enemies. And all they're doing is generating more. What the United States and Israel have embarked on is a policy of create more enemies, not friends.
It seems
I'll
that
put it
they're
that
just
simply.
go on.
No, that's it. Go ahead.
It seems that they're just counting on the United States. They don't consider any other country to be their friend. And do they really understand that their support in the United States is diminishing right now?
Yeah, I don't think, well, they're starting to recognize that. That's why they're terrified with all these college protests. And, people getting tired of hearing me say it this way, but we're witnessing a generational divide. My generation, the people that are, say 60 years of age and older, we grew up in what I call with the Exodus men, the movie with Paul Newman, Eva Marie Saint, where Israel's the David. Those nasty, vicious Arabs are the Goliath. And David, the underdog fighting for freedom. And then, Dalton Trumbo in his screenplay threw in what I call the Mandingo meme. The Mandingo was the big black slave that was wanting to rape white women, as a racist meme. Well, they put it in now with an Arab version, because at the end of the movie, this cute little blonde girl, Karen is her name of the character, she gets raped and murdered by those vicious Arabs. Oh, and so we got that again on October 7th. Oh, Hamas was raping all the women and beheading the babies, same crap. The problem is that people who are 40 years of age and under, they haven't seen that movie. Number one. Number two, they're not watching mainstream news, even cable news, and reading mainstream newspapers. They're on TikTok, Instagram, Telegram, Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, BitChute. They're seeing actual videos, and they're getting a different story Yeah, they're dead babies, all right. Thousands of them, but they're not Israeli. They're Palestinian. They're seeing thousands of bodies pile up. They're not Israelis. They're Palestinians. And so they're going, wait a second. These guys are a bunch of murdering thugs. That's how Israel's coming across. And again, I just look at the numbers. Okay, so let's accept the Israeli account. I don't. But that October 7th, 1,200 were killed, included baked babies in the oven and beheaded babies and raped women. 1,200 were killed. And so killing 45,000 Palestinians just solves that, cures that, heals that. You know, what point is it enough? And the Israeli message is real simple. They want to kill them all. They want to eliminate the Palestinians from that. Get the hell off of our land is the Israeli attitude. But, you know, that's flipped. So 5 years from now, Israel's not going to have the support. It won't be able to buy a member of Congress like it is now. Right now, it's bought the Republicans, but once Israel's going to cross a line and get itself embroiled in a conflict that it can't win. I would argue it's already there. It can't win this thing with Hamas because it's not fighting Hamas. It's fighting the Palestinian people and trying to destroy their aspirations to have land that's their own, that you can't come in and tell me what to do. We'll tell ourselves what to do. This is our land, not yours. That's what they're fighting for.